I think every piece of clothing I own has a spot of food stain right here.
I have like, yeah, that one too. Okay, like, do you remember like the first time like you like ate like pizza or potato chips and it started going down your shirt?
You ever get, yeah, and then you get like a piece stuck under your boob, and you're like, God damn
Yeah.
it.
I was like, oh shit. Like, because it was both super affirming, but both awful at the same
It's
time. It
super
was just like,
awful.
this is terrible. I have to like sit up straight to eat now. Like, I don't like that. But then I was like, but I have boobs.
Right? It's the only thing that makes boob sweat acceptable. It's like, oh yeah,
He's having boobs.
I've been waiting for this my whole life. What am I talking
Yeah,
about?
I know. It's like, yeah, this is horrible in the best
It's
way.
the best way. You just got like a line on your shirts.
Best
You're like,
way.
oh great.
It's so horrible. I'm so
So horrible. I
good.
love it.
I love my boob sweat.
Yeah. Some asshole frat boy's like, you got boob sweat. I'm like, oh my God, thank you for noticing.
Thank
Excuse me, I'm
you.
down here.
Oh yeah, my eyes are up here.
Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary, welcome to Girl Dick with Ted Cruz, starring Lilith Electra Zarling, Amanda Bonanza, and esteemed Republican Senator from the great state of Texas, your host, Ted Theodore Cruz.
I got my new
Aw.
purple nails.
I know, I love them. I love
Yeah,
your fucking nails every time you do this. You have like such beautiful fingernails.
I
I'm,
know.
I need to go. I need to go get mine done because like I've been not doing it for a
Yeah,
couple reasons because I was unemployed forever
yeah,
and I couldn't justify spending it. Two, as like I was like under the impression that I was gonna like play music and do play
yeah,
guitar, so I was keeping these really short,
yeah.
a fret in hand. Um, and I pretty much given up on that. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need so I can get my nails done again. I
If you want to get
want to
that
get
length, if you want to get that length, and mine aren't that long,
no,
but you
but they're
can, but
fucking beautiful.
they can put the little fake tips at the top, and then you're
I hate the fake tip thing.
no, but you just put just maybe as long as you want, and then your nails will grow underneath it, so your nails will be safe and protected. Because the thing that always happens with me is if I don't have them, now my nails are strong enough that I don't have to worry about chipping them or pulling them apart on something stupid.
But the problem with that
Yeah,
is I hate the way they feel. I had fake nails on one time, like and it was by accident because like there was a language barrier
yeah,
thing with the Vietnamese lady that was doing it.
yeah,
And like I asked for gels, but because I wanted gel nail polish, but she
yeah,
thought gels meant fake nails, and she
yeah.
just started putting fake nails on me, and it was like
Like
she'd already
full fake nails. So
like
this
yeah, the
thing,
whole like the magic dust that
no,
they
no,
make,
no.
like yeah,
So this is just like a piece of flexible plastic at the top that just cover just it's just on the top and then it's filed down and then this is the dip that dust they use.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I
it's so
can't
great.
do it because I hate the way it feels. I hated it the whole time I had it. I
Oh,
was like, this is awful. I hate having this on me. Like,
oh.
yeah, you don't know this about me because I don't think we've ever talked about it. But I'm not like a super hippie, but
Yeah.
like I have hippie tendencies, and that's one of
Yeah.
them. Is I cannot be inorganic with like my body. Like it's like I don't
Yeah.
have any tattoos. Like I won't. Like I would never get like I want to get like gender corrective surgery. That's one
Yeah.
thing, but like I would never get like a boob job or like Botox or like FFS. No way. Like I would never go near it.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I need any of that stuff anyway. But
No.
like for me personally, like I'm
Yeah.
just not into that stuff. And so like when I had those fake nails on my hand when they were attached to me and like it just felt so wrong
Yeah.
and I hated it. I hated it. And I couldn't wait to get rid of them and I'll never
That's
go
fair.
back.
That's
Like
fair.
yeah, so I got it. But I have
I
a
mean,
friend that I grew up with, so I went to high school with, in Milwaukee. Her name's Tiffany, and shout out Tiffany's Nail Tips or something. I forget her name. I forget the name of her business. She's got, I think that's it, Tiffany's Nail Tips or something like
yeah.
that. But she told me a thing. She's always got like the best nails. Like she's just phenomenal nail art,
Yeah.
and she told me that the way to keep your nails healthy and stop them from breaking is just get a glass nail file. and use a glass file.
Oh.
And like I haven't tried it yet, but like apparently there's a huge difference. And like I'm gonna try. I'm gonna get a glass nail file and go that route.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
we'll
great.
see.
I mean, obviously we
I
have a few
believe her
different.
just because of the quality of her work.
Obviously, you and I are a little different when it comes to tattoos and nails and boob jobs.
Oh yeah, clearly, yeah.
Like we're both equally hot parts of this podcast.
Well, yeah, we definitely both are.
And I would also say, it's not gender correction surgery; it's gender confirmation surgery.
Gender confirmation surgery. Yeah. I apologize.
It's okay.
For me, it's corrective.
It's not correcting anything.
Oh no, for me, it's correcting. Wait, that's personal. Like I just find gender confirmation, but like it's like for me.
If you just say GCS, everyone can read how they want to read it.
My shit's broken and it needs to be fixed.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't like it.
That's fair.
Like, I'm not into it. And there's a lot of trans women that like I'm just, I'm also I haven't even started the process. And I'm on 4 years, and that's just like it's like. But lately, it gets worse and worse as time goes on. It's like, and it's just like lately, it's just been like, oh come on, really? These little things like. Anyway, because I could go into that because it is kind of funny.
You should, so, like, if you want to, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, not too much, but I do want to tell you.
Yeah.
I do want to tell you about like Friday, the last Friday that happened. So like I've got like a Spiro. You can't see because you only see me from here up.
Yeah.
But I've got like a Spiro belly, and it really I don't like it. Like it doesn't match. Like it's like I'm more overweight than I would like to be. And I know that like for a lot of people, like that's like a shitty thing to hear coming from someone that looks like me, but I still feel that way. But I'm trying to lose this belly. It's like, it's too big. It's like, it doesn't match. Like, it's just like, and so I'm like working really hard. Like I'm doing all these exercises, and you have to understand, I fucking hate exercising. I fucking hate it. There's nothing I hate more than physical labor. Like in physical activity, I hate it so much, and it is so hard to get me in the morning. I get up and I gotta do my exercises. Like, oh, I hate it so much. I just have to power through it because I need to do it because I need to get rid of this belly. And I know that it works.
Same.
And so like I gotta do it. So oh god, and it's like a holiday season where the fat wants to come and add, and like,
everyone wants to be like, hey, you should have some of this, and you're like, oh, and man, I love some of that.
I do, and I have all of that, and I eat it. Like I eat terribly, and like I eat so much sugar, and like it's like, oh, but I don't drink that much anymore, so like that helps. But like and also like I quit smoking, and like the pounds came on after that, like and it's just like I was like, maybe I should take up smoking again.
No.
I know I'm not going to.
Okay.
I'm not going to, but it's like I'd be lying if I didn't think about it like every day.
The pandemic killed me. I put on a lot.
Yeah, well, the pandemic paired. I quit smoking during the pandemic, like so it was like. It was double plus Spiro. Like it was just all like a triple fucking whammy. And like I've been thin and fit my whole life. And so to all of a sudden, finally I'm a girl and I'm just no.
I think I'm actually looking at getting like there's some personal trainer things in town where they run classes for people.
I'm gonna try this thing that I'm doing, and if this doesn't do the job, like I'm gonna get a personal trainer.
And so here's the thing, I'm like you, I am not a morning person, and
I'm a morning person. I'm just not an exercise person.
But like I start every day. I start work at 8:30, and it's gotten to the point where like I'm dragging my ass out of bed at because I work from home. I drag my ass out at like 8:10, and I make coffee, and I'm still in my pajamas, and I just start work. And I'm just like, if I committed to it, to like going to a place that was like 20 minutes away, getting my exercise in and coming home, like if I invested in that, I know I would have no problem living up to that. Because the days I get my electrolysis, I'm up at like 5:30 to get to Richmond in time for session before work, so I agree with you. It's tough. It's another thing, we always talk about like looking at support group photos and stuff and like being like, why isn't that me? And like seeing people who just like, I've been on hormones for a year and I lost like 180 pounds, and I'm like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
They're like hard work, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
No, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I don't want to do hard work. I don't want to do hard work.
Discipline and hard work. That's how. It's like, no, I hate those things.
I wish I could take the
the
discipline I have in other things in my life. I wish like.
I'm so
and now,
mad at
if
it.
anyone from work is listening, I work with coaches. They're just like, you should hire a coach to do this. I'm like, I ain't got money to hire a coach, man. Come on, I got tattoos to pay for.
See, that's things. That's I gotta find it. But anyway. Yeah. What I was getting at was like, so I've been doing my exercises and like I haven't eaten really better, but I've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
So like Friday night rolled around and like I'd done all my work and like I had done with my work week and did all the work, and I was towards the end of the night, I was like playing some video games, like watching a little YouTube, and like I decided like I had eaten dinner, but I was got those munchies.
Yeah.
I got the munchies, and I went into the fridge, and I got, I'm embarrassed to admit this. I got 2 slices of American cheese on it. I got 2 Kraft singles out of there, just like unwrapped them Kraft singles and ate them Kraft singles.
Yeah.
But the problem is I was sitting in my chair, my gamer chair, like leaning back, eating my cheese. Yeah, and like
you're pulling out like you're eating it like string cheese.
Yeah, I pull it apart, like, give me that cheese, give me that Kraft single, like and I was doing that, and like a piece broke off and fell in my hair, and it's American cheese. I was like trying to get it out, but I couldn't really. And it was kind of like gum in your hair. And I was like, well, what I really should do is go get his scissors and snip this out. But like, really, I just kind of did it as best I could, and then I left it. And I haven't really dealt with it.
That's okay. That's okay. No
there's
judgment.
A little cheese clump in my hair right here.
Totally fine. No judgment.
I'm just living with it.
Welcome to Girl Dick with Ted Cruz. I'm Lilith Zarling. That's Amanda Bonanza. Ted Cruz could not be here tonight. He had an emergency tonsillectomy, and we wish him the best coming through for that. Actually, we don't care. I think.
I actually hope they botch it and he can never talk again.
Oh my God!
Wouldn't that be something?
That's when he'd show up. That's when he'd show up to the podcast regularly.
Yeah, I wonder, like, being Ted Cruz, because there was that thing in the airport, like over the summer or something or whatever it was. Remember when he had to rush to Congress and he had to like show about the racist babies or whatever? And like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The racist baby book.
Held. He was in Montana or something, and he got held up in the airport because he's Ted Cruz and he thought he could. He was
Ted Cruz his way through.
Ted Cruz doesn't wait in security, and they're like, they wouldn't let him through security because he didn't do what he was supposed to do, and he was breaking the law because he's a piece of shit. He's Ted Cruz. He thinks he can do whatever the fuck he wants. And it's like, and he did that. He said, "Don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am?" Like I have to get to Washington. Like,
here's the thing.
Go on.
I was gonna say Ted Cruz was at CPAC with the sign overhead that said "We are all terrorists." Like, yeah, we know exactly who you are. You're a self-proclaimed terrorist.
Yeah, I that's the thing is like they do that stuff like thinking they're owning. It's like, no, you are.
You admitted it.
Yeah.
Like when someone tells you who they are, believe them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So anyway.
What was I getting at? I had a thing.
It was Ted Cruz, the airport. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Your joke was better than my joke that was hatching. My joke's just got to go back in the egg and stay there because, like, I can't remember it. It's like it couldn't have been that good of a joke. Yeah, okay. Like I can't remember. Like something about
I mean, here's the deal.
Oh! Okay. So, like, what I was getting at
was
like if you're Ted Cruz, that thing in Montana when he got held up at the airport, like there's a part of me and it's a big part of me that believes that that was intentional, because yes, they very much did know who he is,
Mhm.
and he's Ted Cruz and he's a piece of shit. So like, I'm gonna fuck with Ted Cruz because I can. And I wonder how much of his life is like that. Like if he's worried about that, like where he can't go anywhere because like when Mitch McConnell gets yelled at in a restaurant, it's like, do they think about it? Does he think about like, oh fuck, is today the day when some shithead's gonna yell at me? Like, and it's just like, does Ted Cruz walk around and like go to his places, or it's like when he went to the fucking Yankee game and they fucking cussed him the fuck out. Like it's
Remember when Trump said your wife was
fuck
ugly?
you ugly
Fuck
piece
you.
of shit. Fuck, get the fuck out of New York, you asshole. Like, you dumb
That's going right in
motherfucker.
his campaign ads. He's like, see, I showed him in New York, a bunch of liberals.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
maybe. Like, I
maybe.
mean, if he was smart, he would play to that. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, he might not be that smart. He might be that. But I mean, point of it is like he has to know on some level how much people hate him, and like that anywhere he goes, there's the chance of that happening. And I wonder like what, like, you know, is he like, is that how he lives his life? Where it's just like, fuck, like, fuck, everyone hates me.
He lives his life like a trans woman in America. Every time I leave my house, who knows what's out there for me?
True that. Yeah. Well, that's why he's on our show and he's so supportive.
That's why.
Because he knows. It's like, I know the plight of, like, I'm something of a trans woman myself. The Willem Dafoe meme is like, it's Ted Cruz. We have to make that. Put Ted Cruz's face.
Slap Ted Cruz's face right in there.
That's a meme that's gotta get made, I think. At least for us. There's our coffee mug. Talk about merch.
Yeah, right.
Our t-shirt. That's fucking perfect. Yeah, we have to do that. Like, get Ted Cruz's face. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, honestly, legally, I don't know if we can sell shit with his face on it.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have to. I am actually gonna talk to a lawyer about that because, like, but I'm pretty sure. And the reason that I'm almost 100, because I mean, look at you've got like Nixon masks and like Reagan masks and all that stuff, and it's like you can do all that stuff. And this is I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not 100% on this, but I'm like 99% on this. And when you are a politician, you lose the rights to your likeness. Okay. And your name and your likeness become public domain because that's the First Amendment. You have the right to criticize and make fun of politicians.
Yeah.
And so like that's a thing. That's why Trump could never sue anyone for libel, because like he couldn't, because he's a politician and you're legally allowed to make fun of them and use them for anything you want. Like there's all the Trump fucking things, like, you know, all the Biden dolls and Obama dolls. Like it's like, yeah, you don't need their permission to do it. They're not getting a percentage of that.
Joe Biden's not getting any money from those Let's Go Brandon flags? Is that what you're telling me?
Joe Biden's not making any money off Let's Go Brandon.
What about Brandon? Is Brandon getting any money from those flags?
Brandon's fucking loaded. Brandon's fucking making that gas pump money.
Chop.
It's like, yeah, hike up them gas prices. I get buy new old big old truck.
That would be a great rumor to start.
My truck balls.
Is that all those I made this stickers with Joe Biden? Just be like, yeah, you know, the Democratic National Party printed and sold those to fund Joe Biden's reelection. Like, what the fun?
No, I mean, you're right, though.
Just tell people.
There's so many subversive things you can do to like those idiots, because they're essentially like the Rube of all Rube.
There's a guy who shows up.
Rubes. Like
Rube Goldberg times 10. But there's a guy who shows up at the farmer's market, and he spends like half an hour setting up. It looks like a place that would sell like a food truck. So you're like, oh man, what do they got? As he slowly sets up, it was like flags with Trump as Rambo and stuff and all that stuff. And I just want to go and be like, do you know that the DNC is the one producing these? And every time you sell a flag, or every time you buy a flag to sell, the profit goes back to Washington and funds Nancy Pelosi.
You
guy.
should definitely tell him that.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey,
like,
man, you know what I heard? I heard Joe Biden prints up them Brandon flags himself, makes 1.25 off each sale.
yeah.
1.25.
Quarter.
1.25. That's
Hey, y'all
just
want to roll some
crazy.
coal?
So crazy. Shit's crazy, yo. Shit's crazy. Joe Biden sending Brandon flags. Man, oh man. Every time I see the Trump is Rambo flag, and I'm just like, here's the thing. I'm 52 years old. I was alive for Nixon. And I've been alive that whole time. I wasn't living my fullest that whole time, but I was definitely alive and sentient that whole time. There's never been a politician who like had like such a depth of merch available. And it's just like, if you're like, is this a con? Like that would be the first tip. Like some of these people, you've been around since Kennedy. When was the last time you were any time in your life did you ever go to the beach and someone had like 14, John F. Kennedy flags around where they were sitting on the beach? No, that's never happened. Like you go, oh my God, you go to the Outer Banks, North Carolina for vacation, and that's just like people stake out like all their Trump shit and they sit in the middle of it and get whatever sun filters through it, and it's crazy. It's just
it's bonkers.
At no point is your like. I do things that are totally sane, and I'm like, is this crazy for me to be doing? And it's just like this person is doing flat out crazy.
They're cultists. Like it's like.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Ginny Thomas is involved. It's got to be a cult.
I don't know who that is.
Ginny Thomas is Clarence Thomas's wife. Who is a big part of this. And in the 70s, she was part of a huge cult and then spent most of her life dedicated to ending cults and stuff. But apparently what she did in the 70s didn't take, because here we are today.
Thomas in the next cult ever,
the biggest cult of all.
Good question.
Yeah, I'm gonna start us out. I'm gonna start us out with a good one. I think you and I are gonna have a nice conversation here, and it's gonna be uplifting and it's gonna be hopeful for everyone. All right. Is it normal to just feel happier and less angry when transitioning? So I'm male to female, and I've started accepting this and living in a more feminine way, and I'm so happy. I started making positive life choices, reaching out to friends more often, and I'm even out of my room more. I basically just want to ask, is it normal to feel this good, or am I like secretly bipolar and on a high? I don't know. It just doesn't feel like I should be quite so happy, Obviously, I'm aware how people are going to treat me, and I know it's going to be a long, arduous road, but I just feel like I'm thinking so clearly for the first time. +1 for the word arduous. I love you.
Oh.
Right? Doesn't it just...
Oh.
This makes me so happy. And I think it's because you and I both, we've talked about this amongst ourselves in the past, like this is both things we've experienced and are tied to.
Sure.
I'll let you
it's
talk
so
about it.
normal, honey.
Yeah.
It is the most normal thing, because like the one of the things for me was like I didn't know how shitty I felt all the time until I started feeling better. And like I always knew that like I was unhappy. I didn't understand the degree to which I was unhappy. And I'm pretty sure that's a universal thing for all. I feel safe speaking for all trans people about that. Like once you come to that realization and you come out and even like once you don't have to go on HRT to be trans, but like and feel that, but if you do, it does help like a lot. It did in my case. And like once the hormones started physically working, like because a lot of it is like it's like because the hormone balance, my hormone balance was wrong my whole life, and it was just it felt shitty, physically bad to have like all the hormones be wrong. Like it felt bad, and I didn't know because that's all I ever knew. And so like once they started correcting, I would go through these bouts, of like where like I would just have these moments where I was just like got this kind of like really good physical sensation would just kind of like wash over my whole body. I'd be kind of like paralyzed by it. I'd be taken aback and be like, oh, it's like, is this? And at first I thought it was a side effect of the HRT meds that I was on. I was like, well, this is a good deal. I'd like sit back and I remember sitting in a chair for 20 minutes just feeling like, and what happened was that started happening like more and more and more and more until like that's kind of how it was all the time. And I came to the conclusion that it's not that I felt so, that wasn't me, the drugs making me feel euphoric. That was the shittiness that I felt my whole life going away. And what the realization that I came to is like, oh no, it's not that I feel so good. It's that I felt so fucking bad my whole life. Yeah. So yes, it's very normal. It's very normal to feel euphoric once you come out, once you start living your life as your true self. Like that's the thing about it is like, is it sucks. It sucks being the wrong gender. It really sucks really bad. And like it's physically uncomfortable. It's the most uncomfortable thing that I can imagine. I've never and I didn't know until like I started feeling better. Like the scope. I always knew that it was a thing, but I had no idea the scope and the magnitude of it, like until I started feeling better. I mean, you have a similar kind of experience.
The way I always experienced it was, we have, as a trans person who's trying to like, whether you realize, like when I was a kid, being trans wasn't any, like I didn't have trans role models or anything, and like you start developing these ways to hide that, and after you don't even realize them. And so you've got all these things in your brain, these fail safes. I always call them malware. It's like you're a laptop and the hard drive is riddled with malware, and it's all things that are like, don't do this, don't do that. So you're when I would be in public at a part, let's say I was at a party, I was very self-conscious of how I was being perceived or how I was.
How you walk yourself, how you talk, like how you make sure you don't hold your hands in a certain way.
And the hands are the thing. So that's the first time it clicked me. I was having lunch with a friend after I had come out, and I realized I was way more expressive with my face and hands when I was talking. And I had never been that way. And I just realized at that moment that like I have let that go, that I have to be manly when I talk, whatever the fuck that means. But you have all these things. And for me, it started, you talk about like starting hormones. Hormones does help that. For me, the hormones like kicked it in overdrive. That's where I really started. But my confidence started growing. Even like I wasn't even living full time. I would maybe 2 weekends a month I'd go and perform, presenting as a woman and living that. And people knew that I kind of had this going on. And that confidence I got from those nights where I was doing that carried over my regular life, because I was no longer hiding that part of myself. And so much of what I do as a coach and talking to people every day, it's like the secret is being your most authentic self. And there's so much joy that comes with being authentic. There's so much you get to experience because you're not worried about all these other things that you shouldn't have to worry about to begin with. And that also comes,
the amount of energy
that you waste,
and it was just so much, and it's like that's one of the reasons that I ended up coming out and transitioning was just like I couldn't do it anymore. Like I got to the point where I was just like I was too exhausted. Like it takes up so much energy, such a handicap, because you have to. Lilith's like analogy of like malware is really apt, because like you are spending all of this processing power and RAM on just keeping up this charade. Like you're doing it all the time, and you forget that you're doing it because you've been doing it your whole life. But it really is like there was no aspect of presenting male that was in accordance with my personality, or that was in accordance with my intuition. Like there was nothing about it that came organically for me. All of it was learned behavior, and it was learned through trial and error. because like I didn't understand it either. Like I didn't do it well because I didn't understand why men did the things that they did. And like and so like yeah, keeping your voice monotone and like not being expressive and not like all that stuff, all these little things, walking in a way that like felt uncomfortable, but that was the way men walked. So like so I didn't get beat up or hurt or like you're made fun of or whatever it was. Like all of that stuff, all of those things were learned behavior, and I had to, and they all took concentration, like 100% of the time, like because like that just takes up so much mental bandwidth and so much energy that it really takes away from your potential, your capacity to do anything at all. And once you let go of that, once you stop doing that, of course it feels better. I think it feels incredible.
And I think I think another part of that is, we kind of talked about that authenticity, and it really is like I as much as like people, you see people talking about trans people really appreciate and are attracted to authentic people. And it's one of the reasons I love Amanda so much. It's just like we have completely authentic conversations. We don't hold back. Where I'm an open book. I tell that to people, all the time. Like, I am 100% who I am all the time. I'm not going to hide from someone. And as scary as that can be, given our current client, most people are appreciative and attracted to that authenticity.
Yeah, it's true.
And there's a realness to people who do that. And I mean, who like
a confidence that comes along
with confidence that comes with it, because I know that what I'm going to do is what my authentic self wants me to do. I don't have to have any fear about what I'm doing is right or wrong, because I'm doing what my authentic self wants me to do. And so you're like on that way. It is a long road, but be 100% who you are and embrace that.
And it's not so bad as you might think. Is the other thing is you mentioned like, it's a lie. I know I've got a long, arduous road ahead of me. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. We all do. But like, it's long for sure. Not necessarily that arduous. And the parts that are hard, because it is difficult. I guess it is arduous, but like, it's not so bad, because the thing is like the parts that are bad about it are so grossly outweighed by the parts that are
that are great about it. Yeah.
That are so good about it. Like, and it's like you're shifting the shit over to another place. Like, it's like before, when you were in the closet, when I was in the closet, like, it's like I was able to navigate society in a way that I felt safe, and I didn't feel like I was like gonna get unduly prosecuted, and I had male privilege, and I recognized that I did. I was fully aware of that, but I felt shitty all the time. Like, and it was hard, and I was miserable. And so now, like, I did literally watch my male privilege like pack its bags, put on its hat, and like walk out the door. I was like, oh, all right. Yeah.
So long, partner.
Like, I am actually gonna miss you.
Yeah. I think honestly,
it was like one of the hardest parts for me, actually. It was like knowing that was gonna leave, and like it's like, fuck, I'm gonna have to deal with all this other bullshit. And like, because I was hyper aware of it too, and I was always very sensitive, because I knew. Like, right. Like when you're a trans woman, you tend to be hyper aware of like women's issues, even if you're not presenting female, like, but you're a woman, and so like, you feel that shit, you feel the sting of like the anti-women rhetoric and the sexism and the patriarchy. You feel it the whole way, like, and like, I mean, but it's just so much better.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the arduous stuff is self-work, because you are cleaning everything out, and you're facing the unknown. And I would love
Yeah.
to do like I would like to do like a deep dive on this about ego and releasing things and finding out what defines your ego, because I think that's such an important part of it. And I think I'm just gonna give a brief thing. I did an exercise. I think everyone knows I work for a coaching company, and we met. We had a corporate meeting. We met the founder, and he did this thing with us about our ego. And he basically asked us, like, if you could live for 15 minutes without all these ego things, and I guarantee you can come back and you'll just be you again, but you just 15 minutes and releasing your ego. And your ego is really just the things that you believe define who you are. You know, whatever you take that to mean, whatever those things are.
Yeah, I know.
And there were people, like cis people, who were just like, not even 15, I couldn't do that. Like, they were worried about that. And I was just like, it hit me that that's all my transition has been, is taking these things that I think define who I am and releasing them and accepting the things that I want to define me. And you can do that you could do that in your transition.
Yeah, you don't need to be trans to do it either.
You don't need to be trans. Oh my God, it would be so much better if people who weren't trans would do it. But like,
yeah.
you think about, like, your family, how many siblings you have, where you're from, what's your favorite, all these things, what's your favorite food, what's your favorite color, what gets you excited.
The guilty pleasure.
Your guilty pleasure. What if
there's no such
that?
thing. There's no such thing. It's just pleasure.
Well, even if you thought about, like, how does being the second born child affect you? Just release that. Define yourself. And so that's the process you're on, and that can be scary because you are literally redefining yourself. But it's the best because you are literally making yourself the person you've always wanted to be. And
it's like
if I'm being honest,
like you're shaking off a construct. It's like, and you watch all the pieces crumble and fly away, and like it is really releasing weight. Like it's a weight, a load off. It really is. I mean, I guess it's funny.
And if you want to feel like where like anti-trans rhetoric comes from, I think it comes from the idea, like, can you imagine if 300 million people here in the United States just decided to evaluate their ego and release the things that they thought defined them and went out and recreated themselves? It'd be fucking chaos. Who would work shitty jobs if they could just realize that they could take a weekend and try to redefine themselves and go on the path that they want to? And here's the thing is, you can do that. Yeah. And you don't have to, those of us who choose to do that, good for us. We're going to live fulfilling lives, and we're going to have the time of our lives. We're going to be the people they want to be. And someone else can work, whatever. I don't want to name. I have my one go-to. I'm not going to say that. Well, they can work full time at some shitty place, and that's the choice they make. And they'd rather be mad at trans people for existing than see what we're doing and evaluate themselves and take the risk and responsibility of letting go of the things that define them and move forward and define themselves. So yes, it is normal to feel happier and less angry. You're on an amazing quest for selfhood and defining yourself, and I'm excited for you.
I'm so excited for you. Welcome.
Yeah.
Congratulations on making the call, by the way. Like, it's not an easy thing. I like give you that extra little thumbs up there. It's like little boop. Hey, you did good, because it is hard. That coming out is fucking hard. It's fucking hard, and you did it. And congratulations. And like, and your attitude is just so good. It's so healthy. Like it's just like that is true. It's like it is going to be a long, arduous road, but like it's good. It's gonna be good too. It's gonna be
instead of a long, arduous road, let's say it's gonna be a long, strange trip.
Yeah. The long and winding road.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's what it was about. the absolute worst Beatles song.
Are we gonna have a bit here? We're gonna talk music again for our music pullouts.
I like Sir Paul. I got nothing against Paul.
Have we talked about the video clip of John Lennon and Yoko Ono singing with Chuck Berry?
We sure did. Okay, I read a biography of Paul McCartney, which is weird because like this was one of the worst written books I've ever read because it was boring. And like I can't believe, like, how did you manage to take a life like Paul McCartney led and somehow make it boring? But he did. Like it was like, whoa, dude. And I got through it despite it. But like there were times I just wanted to like throw that book in the trash and light it on fire.
Right.
It was such a bad biography. But it did get to the point like when they were recording the White Album and John and Yoko had just hooked up.
Yeah.
And like apparently, according to this biography, one of the like they were just like, and this is fairly common known as like John and Yoko were just like they were like this, like they couldn't be separated. They were like they just said they're just going to be together all the time. That wasn't really working for the whole rest of the Beatles.
Not really working for us.
Yeah, not working for everybody else. Was like, oh, this isn't really great. And like it was especially not great for Paul, you know, who was like kind of the like lead guy with John, you know, and like and having Yoko there to like chime in and opinionate on things, but he, you know, according to the book, was like took it and was like, oh well, I don't like it, but we'll deal with it. Like and at a certain point, they were in the studio, and like Yoko was in the studio with her, and they were just like, oh, it sucks. And then she got sick, and Paul was like, oh, thank fucking God, she got sick and she was bedridden. And Paul and John was just, or Paul was just like, thank fucking God, like we can finally do some work. But instead of staying home in bed, she had a bed brought into the studio where she laid in bed in the studio and had a microphone so she could yell instructions at Paul. Now that's according to the biography. That was really bad. Yeah. So I don't know if it's true. I don't know if that's true. Yeah. But like and like, you know, like I've seen some things with Yoko Ono, and like she's made good art. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, like I have got nothing against Yoko Ono. Yoko Ono is like she gets, I think she gets an unfair amount of shade thrown her way.
Yeah.
Though she did bring it all upon herself. Like,
and also as much as she's made good art, it's that shit with Chuck Berry is still hilarious
in the studio. Oh, she did a lot of bad art.
I mean, you got to make bad art to make good art. It's just part of the process. But you know, you mentioned like that.
But Paul you don't McCartney, have to do it on like
national television.
Yeah.
Also, it's just like a thing. You're like, okay, so Chuck Berry and John Lennon are going to be jamming to Memphis, Tennessee, and then I'm just going to pick it in the middle of it. I'm just going to pick up a mic and go, ah! And then one's like, yeah, okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, she did those.
And
things.
Sorry for blowing out the audio. But does it surprise you? Does it surprise you? Does it surprise you that Paul McCartney's like biography was boring?
It very much surprises me. Paul McCartney has had one of the most interesting lives of anyone who's ever lived. You would think he would have a boring biography.
I mean,
Paul fucking McCartney. He was like, he was in the Beatles. He did so many things.
Yeah.
He was not a boring man. Like,
I mean, I don't know. Like when I think about like that time,
rock stars.
Like I just think about like all the shit that went down in the 60s, like music wise, and like the Beatles weren't at Woodstock, they weren't at Altamont, they didn't have any like, I don't know.
What are you saying?
Like
the
it just
Beatles didn't do much?
No. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like
the Beatles didn't contribute enough to 60s pop culture.
No, listen, but what do you think about like, oh, what's a Beatles moment, you know, from the 60s.
Everything they did.
No, everything you did is not an answer. What's a moment that crystallizes in your brain?
I don't know. Playing the first
that's it.
sold-out stadium show, like ever.
A sold-out stadium show.
They did multiple sold-out stadiums.
But that's not.
They invented everything. They did everything first.
I think you're proving my point. There's just like a moment that Paul McCartney.
The Monterey Pop Festival was Paul McCartney. He made that. Like, he did the Monterey Pop Festival. That was him. He did that. Like, it's like, so he was there for that. So like, it's like Woodstock copied that. Like, so
I totally understand that. But if you close your eyes and you say certain rock stars, you can just picture a crystal clear moment of them. Paul McCartney, what on stage with wings somewhere randomly,
or the Beatles?
That's what I'm saying though. But a specific.
Yeah, are you saying Paul McCartney is not a rock star?
I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not saying that the Beatles. I'm agreeing with you on all of this. I'm saying when I think about Paul McCartney, there's not like a moment where I was like, oh yeah, that was fucking Paul McCartney, peak McCartney. Like every time they're on stage, it's very dull. It's very boring. They're just like the four of them on stage, doing it. There's just not like a Paul McCartney moment. Like even when they had moments, it was John Lennon.
They got arrested on the rooftop. Like they played. They were live at Budokan. They had the entire country of Japan up in an uproar. like all of these things. They did so many things. Picking one is hard. I mean, they were the first album. They were the first band to record in stereo. That's huge. That's huge.
Does that make an exciting biography?
Yes, a compilation of doing a million things first.
But writing a chapter on being recorded in stereo. Is that a memorable biography? I mean, it's
I don't know what you're getting at. You would have expected a biography of Paul McCartney to be boring, is what you're saying.
I mean, honestly, in my opinion, he's the most boring Beatle.
What?
He's the most boring Beatle.
He did more than anyone. He did the most.
And he did them in the most boring way possible. Fucking George Harrison's out here, fighting with Eric Clapton over their ex-wives. John Lennon. Ringo is Ringo. He's the most boring of the four.
Ringo is Ringo.
You can't argue with that. You can't argue.
Ringo Starr is in fact Ringo. I mean, in the end, I don't care.
I'm honestly not saying this as someone who doesn't enjoy the Beatles. That's not where this is coming from at all. It's just Paul McCartney just doesn't seem very interesting. You'd be talking to a party and you'd be looking for someone else to talk to. How are you doing today?
I was
man.
Oh, this party was good until Paul McCartney showed up.
I gotta go. I see Anthony.
Snooze fest.
I gotta go. I gotta see Anthony Kiedis over here.
Ho hum. Oh, did you? Did you invent Stadium Rock? Oh, yeah. Why did you? Cool.
Also, you keep saying that their live shows and their stadium shows were notoriously bad live.
No one knew how to do it because they never done it before. When they played Shea Stadium, they were going through the baseball stadium's PA. They didn't have monitors. This is all stuff that I know that's boring. I'm gonna probably.
Aha! So you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
You know what? You sold me, Lilith. The Beatles are the most boring band ever. And Paul McCartney is
Paul
a boring
McCartney
band.
is the most boring Beatle.
What's interesting about anything that he did, really, when you think about it. He's just like he might as well have just worked at an office selling paper clips.
Just rode John Lennon's
Why did
coattails
anyone
to
even write a
fame.
biography? How do they even find anything to fill pages with? That's the real question.
Oh, well, then there was the time
What has Paul McCartney done for the world? Really,
they
when you
recorded
think
us in
about it.
stereo, and so you could hear us out of each headphone. So that was kind of nice. And then 20 years later, I wrote "Live and Let Die." What's to tell? You know what? Right now, 80% of our listeners are like, "Who are the Beatles?"
Yeah, no, that's the thing is like the Beatles, like it's like I don't know if this is even good podcasting because it's like they are kind of at that point where it's like they're kind of irrelevant now, and they're not irrelevant, but I know younger people definitely don't give two shits about the Beatles, and
Right.
they're not wrong. The pedestal that the boomers put them on, it's lofty. Let's just say
yeah.
It's a pretty lofty pedestal,
Yeah.
but I mean, they did. I'm a fan.
I'm a fan too. Like I don't even want to come off like I'm not a fan. It's just, if you said, like, if I saw an autobiography.
Usually what fans say is how boring they are. That's a real big fan talking.
If I was in a store,
Lilith Zarling super fan. Paul McCartney's a boring man.
I'm just saying like
T-shirt.
super fan. Paul McCartney super fan.
Lilith like this. Paul McCartney is a boring man.
Look, I've read a lot of rock and roll biographies, and if I saw one for Paul McCartney, I just wouldn't feel the desire to read it. Yeah,
pass that right by for Chris Cornell.
I thought Janis Joplin's was amazing. So is Jim Morrison's.
You're saying Janis Joplin had a more interesting life than Paul McCartney?
Oh my God, her autobiography. I read her autobiography, and I wouldn't go around saying it was boring.
Well, he didn't write it. It was a biography. Some other clown wrote it.
Someone wrote her biography too, but I would say it was not boring. So.
Well, that's on the writer.
Why don't you look for other?
Start.
Now, what you need to do is find 2 other Paul McCartney biographies.
Why do I have to do that?
And then you'll see if he's boring or if just bad writers want to write about him.
I already know he's not boring.
I don't know. You recommended his biography as a
I didn't. I was talking. I was saying this writer was exceptionally bad because he took something that was very interesting and made it boring. That was my whole point from the start.
I just think maybe it is boring. Maybe your expectations
I'm not
are too.
saying I'm not a fan of the Beatles.
I am a fan of the Beatles.
Paul McCartney, thumbs down.
Now you're misinterpreting everything I'm saying. I'm not saying thumbs down. I'm just saying he doesn't seem like a particularly exciting guy. You froze. Oh no, this podcast is no good.
He went to prison in Japan.
The most boring country to go to prison in. Let's clear our system of Paul McCartney. Let's not let this bleed into the next question. Let's just leave the Beatles back there. All right, let's get it out of our system.
You know who you're talking to? Have we met?
I know, and I'll probably bring it up too. I'm just as bad about it.
No, I'm not gonna bring it up. I can move on.
Okay.
I was good stuff.
That was good stuff.
I got a case of the sillies, my darling dear.
Yeah, I just like the fact
that darling.
Oh, my dear. Well, you want other hot takes? The Kinks are better than the Beatles. There, I said.
Well, okay, so I'm not going to say better, but I'm going to say on par.
I love the Kinks.
I think the Kinks are very underrated.
It's completely underrated. Oh my God, I'm so glad we're friends again.
Yeah, I know. Oh yeah. I do. I love you. Do.
You know I love you. You're thinking about the Beatles, aren't you?
I kind of was. I was thinking about Paul McCartney. This is what an interesting guy he was, really. Like all the things he did.
Really? Tell me about the interesting things from that biography you were reading.
Well, I mean, like I can't think of a single one. I can't think of one thing. Boy, it just seems to escape me. It wasn't a good biography.
I mean, he was recorded in stereo, so
Yeah, they
there's
did
that.
record in stereo. They record on the first 8-track. Like
That's a fascinating. I'd love to read a whole 30-page chapter on 8-track recordings.
Holy shit! I will. No. Never mind. That one didn't land like I was hoping it would.
Sorry, was that the start of some Beatles lyric I was supposed to get off the top of my head?
Oh shit! Yeah, never mind.
Which one? Wait, which one? I will.
The joke so didn't land. I'm hoping that it does resonate with some people out there.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You know what? We're gonna find out that there are people who are on my side on this. You know?
Yeah.
They're gonna like, you know what? Let's just watch footage of like a Rolling Stones concert, and then watch footage of a Beatles concert, and you tell me which one looks more boring. Hell's Angels never stabbed anyone at a Beatles concert. Is all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I know. Oh yeah, they really missed out on that.
They really missed out on that one. The lead singer for Jefferson Airplane got punched out. That sounds like an amazing concert that you could probably write an entire book just around that concert.
Oh, I bet someone did.
I read it. It's amazing. It is fucking amazing. It is just like the comedy of errors made setting up that show in Ultimate.
So hard on this, all I can think of at this point is like the merch possibilities. Like just like the Paul McCartney face with the Ghostbusters sign.
I'm not even against Paul McCartney.
Once again, I'm a huge fan. Really boring man. Just
huge
fucking love
fan.
The Beatles.
Dull
fucking
dude.
Paul McCartney
Whatever.
Boy, God damn it.
Just imagine a party coming up to you and be like, do you know I was the first band recorded in stereo? And you're like, no, I don't care. No, I don't. You ever heard of the 8-track? It's like, no, I've never used an 8-track. That's fascinating technology. You ever watch the worst James Bond movie, Live and Let Die? I did the song for that one.
Is that the worst one?
It's in the running.
Okay, sidetrack.
Yeah.
Who's the best Bond?
In the past, I would have said Roger Moore, but that's only because Roger Moore was the one I grew up with.
Live and Let Die.
But that's only because that was the only
one. I like Roger Moore a lot too.
But I also like Daniel Craig.
I think Daniel Craig's the best Bond.
Yeah.
You know, he's been the Bond by far the longest of any Bond.
Time-wise, but not movie-wise.
Time-wise. No, yeah. Like I think Roger Moore went the most movies. But
yeah.
But he's been Bond for he's I think pushing 20 years now.
But he's only done 3 movies, right? 4?
It's been 6.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
There's Casino Royale, there's Quantum of Solace, and then there's
4 other ones. It's naming.
I left all of them.
It's like naming exciting Paul McCartney moments.
That's Mickelsen's breakout role. What are you talking about? Then there was Skyfall, and then there was, I forget what the name after that was, and then there was this last one where spoilers, he dies. And so
I'm not a huge Bond fan.
I do like me some. I like the Daniel Craig ones,
yeah.
David Craig, Daniel Craig.
I
get it mixed up because I think Daniel Craig he was a sports guy,
No,
And
Daniel
I think
Craig
Dave
is
Craig was like a quarterback for like the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes, it's Craig. It's spelled
Like
differently, but
was,
yeah.
I get it mixed up. It's like, which one? Dave Craig? Dan Craig?
Daniel.
Dave Craig, founder of Wendy's.
I mean, obviously, the most exciting Bond was Pierce Brosnan.
I don't think I've ever seen a Pierce Brosnan Bond movie.
There's one where he drives the invisible car. It's kind of stupid.
Invisible car?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, there's like an invisible car technology or something. It's like those things you see now on those things on Kickstarter where you have like the glass that like refracts everything. It's like the car is made of that.
I have to watch because like I don't know, like I've never seen a Pierce Brosnan Bond movie. Like I've never watched any of them. I didn't watch a single one.
Yeah.
In fact, I forget he was Bond, but I guess he was Bond for a pretty long time too.
Like David Craig, like a long time. Daniel Craig. See, now you got me doing it. Like
David
for
Craig,
a long time, but he only did like 2 or 3 movies.
And with that,
thank you, babies, for joining us. It's been a wonderful episode. I'm Lilith Zarling. That's Amanda Bonanza. Apologies for Ted not being able to make it today, but if you click like and subscribe if you're on the YouTubes, or if you're listening on a podcast and want to see us live and in person, not live, I guess, you can watch this. Check out our website and our Patreon, which are coming soon. And yeah, just have the best of life. And
watch us on YouTube. Girl Dick with Ted Cruz on YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube.
Do you have some sort of deal going with YouTube?
We have a deal going with YouTube.
Do we?
Where we're on it.
A free month of YouTube Red or something?
That was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, look at us on YouTube Red.
YouTube Red. Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, everyone who listened to
my personal apologies.
Oh my God, you just like
Sir Paul McCartney. Sir Paul, if you're listening, I know that you're an interesting man.
Just the most boring Beatle. I mean, there's only 4 of them. Someone's got to be the most boring, and it seems like Paul would be the most boring. Anyway, babies, we love you. Thank you for joining us and supporting us. And are you surreptitiously giving me the finger, or is that just accidental?
No, I wasn't. It's a bad habit of mine. I'm just yucking it up over here. I'm just doing some goofballs and some funny bones.
We love you. Have a great day.
All right, I love you so much.
All right.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.